Psalm chapter 147 and 19, he showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
As we said, that's what made them separate. But have those statutes and laws. That's what made us separate from the other nations. Well,
he have not dealt so with any nation, and
not dealt so with any other nation. Well,
and as for his judgments, they have not known them.
The other nations have not known them because he wasn't dealing with them. Because the people he was dealing with are separate. He separately dealt with them and didn't deal with the rest. Well,
praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye Yahweh.
Yeah, real quick. 1 Peter 1 and verse 14. It says, as obedient children, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lust in your ignorance, meaning, you know, your old youthful lust, the things that you committed, the things that you did that was unclean before you came into the knowledge of the truth. It says, according to your former lust in your ignorance, but as ye have, as he have called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation, meaning your conduct, your behavior. It says, because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. And who did he tell that to? Israel, right? And if you call on the Father, who without respect of persons, judge him according to every man's work, showing you that the Lord is going to judge you according to your work and not just by your faith alone. It says, past the time of your sojourning here in fear, for as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold from your vain conversation received by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of Yahweh Shai as a lamb without blemish and without spot, who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you.
He was foreordained from before the foundations of earth and manifest in this time for you, to redeem you and bring you back to the Heavenly Father when he did away with you Israelites. Not with the whole world, with his chosen people. Hey, because there's no power in making everybody. Now, if he's a jealous God, why would he? That don't make no sense, man. I can't make up a way for that to make sense. It only makes sense that he's jealous because he ain't jealous of the other nations dealing with their gods. He's jealous when the Israelites deal with the other gods. And so he will provoke Israel to jealousy, not by bringing in the other nations and their false gods, by making other Israelites that don't seem like Israelites believe. That makes a lot more sense. So that he can win back those that knew that they were Israel as well. Provoke them to jealousy, and they'll follow just like those other men that were so far away from the way that they used to be in the ancient world, that they're now following the ways of the heathen, that they're now following back to the customs of the Israelites.
Yep.
Y'all said that, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was it. That was it on what I had.
Yeah, I got some. Exodus chapter 19, I'm going to start up at verse 3. It says, and Moses went up to the Most High God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you on eagle's wings. Yeah, I made me laugh possible like eagle's wings. Is that literally eagle's wings?
Yeah, right.
You know, a little parabolic. It says, and brought you unto myself.
Yep.
Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, right, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. And above is a separation. It's not with all people, it's above all people, right? It says, for all the earth are mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And say to the whole world, say to the children of Israel.
Yeah, so really, Apostle Geno Jennings, you were wrong. You should have said, all of you blacks here in the congregation, you're Israelites, and the Lord wants you to be holy. But him telling you that, he'd be a hypocrite because he's telling you to do profane things, like still eat unclean according to the dietary law. Because he thinks that the Lord came to do away with the dietary law.
Hey, know something I remember in the church? They used to be like, people would ask about certain stuff, and the pastor would answer it. And people were kind of looking like, we gotta stop eating pork? And then there's some black woman in the back, or some greasy ass nigga in the back talking about, I love my pork, I don't want to, basically complaining and to see what they say. And to me, it always seemed like if you told them no, that a lot of them will follow them. If you told them not to. But do they? No, they don't.
That's how carnal people are, man. They let something as small as eating pork or seafood get in the way of their salvation.
Exactly.
That's why 2/3 got to be destroyed, because that Christianity doctrine, that eating abominable foods, that shit is seared in their head, in their spirit, and it got to be cleansed, ultimately cleansed.
Yep. Only hot fire can burn that out.
Right.
Water didn't work enough. The residue in the water.
Yep.
You got it.
2 Corinthians, this is in the New Testament, by the way. 2 Corinthians 6 and 16. This is dealing with idolatry, the uncleanness of idols. 2 Corinthians 6 and 16. What agreement have the temple of the Most High with idols?
Right.
For ye are the temple.
Let me say, because these other doctrines in these other nations, they have idol worship. They have idols of gods.
But Christianity is idol worship.
That's what I'm going to say.
They ain't worshiping the true God of the Bible. They're worshiping
that's
man-made, using the same book, but they done twisted it up and created another Jesus with their false doctrine, man.
They made it Salaki, but they made it into they used the same book to worship other gods and to open it up for not God's chosen people only.
Yep.
Which is false and wrong.
Yep. It says, what agreement have the temple of the Most High with idols? For ye are the temple of the living power.
For ye are the temple of the living power.
As the Most High have said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my. How many times? How many times is the Lord gonna keep? They keep reiterating from the prophets. When the prophet said that the Most High said He's gonna dwell with Israel, and they shall be His people forever. Okay. And that's in Ezekiel, that's in Joel, that's in multiple of the prophets that the Lord's gonna. I'm gonna read it again. I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Possessive.
Okay.
He didn't say that to Ishmael or Esau.
Okay.
He hates Esau.
Okay.
Okay. Verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate. That's what it means to be sanctified, to be holy.
What chapter is that?
2 Corinthians 6 chapter.
Oh, the 6th chapter.
He's basically telling the church, be holy, and this is how he's telling them. Come out from those idols, right? It says, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
Yep. So let me tie this in. So how do you touch not the unclean thing? By doing the righteous things, by being separate, by your deeds, by following the statutes, laws, and commandments. They're not done away with. Some you cannot keep perfectly, but you do them to the very best of your ability, man. A lot of them you still can do. We know because we do them.
Well, the scriptures tell you about what's unclean according to, physically and as well as morally. Yep. If you commit adultery, that's terrible. That's very immoral, and that's very unclean. Okay. If you worshiping idols, that makes you spiritually unclean to the Most High. Okay. And you're polluting His sanctuary if you bring an idol into His sanctuary. Even if you teaching a false doctrine, you pollute His sanctuary. You know? If you eat unclean according to the dietary law, you're physically polluting yourself. You're still being unclean. The scriptures tell you to abstain from uncleanness. Okay? Physically and morally. We're supposed to be pure in the eyes of the Lord, man.
Right.
All right? And actually, I believe Paul was quoting also when he said this. He said, "Wherefore come out from among them and be separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you." I believe he's quoting Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because all those prophets did say that. You're right.
Yeah. Notice how Apostle Paul keep dwelling in the prophets when dealing with the churches, man. But yet,
and that was the book that they referred to, that the only book that they had back then.
Yeah.
These were still being written.
Yeah, man. You know? And Isaiah was the most quoted prophet in the New Testament. They always say, as Isaiah said. Notice that. Esaias, which is Isaiah. Isaiah 52 and 11. Depart ye, depart ye, go ye out from thence, touch no unclean thing. Go ye out of the midst of her, be ye clean, that bear the vessels of the Lord.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Be ye clean, that bear the vessels of the Lord. Hey, who's the body of the church of the Israelites, man? That's us. And now, particularly, it's the elect. Lord, what a world of that number.
And this was talking to Israel, man. You know? And that's
Isaiah was talking to Israel.
Yeah. And that's the reason why you Christians hate when we refer back to the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Because when you deal with the prophets basically gave it cut and dry.
Yeah.
Exactly who they were talking about.
Hey, can I say it like this? I said it before, but it's just, when you know the way the book is written, the Bible is written, the Old Testament is when the Most High was dealing with Israel as a nation. Yep. The New Testament is when Yahushua came and he got the more excellent ministry, and he's dealing with the elect and not the whole nation no more. Yep. But it's still of the Israelites, though. It didn't change to nobody else.
The only thing that changed was the priesthood.
Yep.
The Lord did away with the sacrificial law,
yep.
and Yahushua became the ultimate sacrifice for Israel.
Yep.
That was the only change that was done. But the prophecies still stand. The law still stands. Okay? And when he made the new covenant with us, he said that he's going to put these same laws that you say is done away with, he's going to put it in us. That we may walk in.
Hey, and that's the best news I've ever heard.
Man.
Because if you understand how this book is written, you look at the Old Testament laws, we can't keep that. You don't know what clause this is made with. You can look and see. But half of what you do is law. You know, there's laws that we just can't keep. But guess what? When they're written in us, we're going to keep them by nature. We're going to naturally keep them. What did you just say?
I said,
You switched up from the whole nation
to the Israelite
foreigners. But the thing about the Israelite foreigners, the thing about the Israelite foreigners is they felt like they were connected to the Israelites, but they wasn't sure. But those of the circumcision that knew they were Israel didn't believe that they were Israelites.
Yep.
But they really were. That's the difference. He opened it back up to them. You know, because they were cut off, and a lot of the Northern Kingdom had already sailed over to the Americas.
Yep.
But those that were scattered, that was left in other lands of the captivities over there in the Middle East, in certain regions over there, they still were they didn't know they were Israelites, but they were still there.
And they became corrupted because they were following after the ways of the heathen. You know? That was what was going on. You know, they got polluted with the works of the heathen, and that's what made them unclean. They became uncircumcised, man. All right, and then Apostle Paul, knowing that they were still, you know, they had that nature in them because that's what they grew up in. He had to lay down, you know, a fundamental protocol for them to be able to maneuver in the truth. You know, come out of the uncleanness, you know, get away from the idols, abstain from fornication, you know, abstain from things strangled, you know, abstain from blood. You can't eat blood according to, hey, if the law is done away with, why was he telling them to abstain from blood? You're not supposed to eat blood according to the law. he was telling them, this was the beginning steps of showing them. These were beginning stages of him showing them how to become holy, how to be separate from their old youthful lusts, their old uncleanness.
Right.
We was all unclean before we came into this, man. We were just like the heathen. We was eating pepperoni pizza all the damn time, eating bacon every morning, We was doing all that shit, man. But hey, we learned from that. And we got taught the truth, and now, we keep the dietary law. We try to keep everything to the best of our ability now. But ultimately, you want to come out of that mental impurity. Meaning you got those wicked ways that's sown in your heart, man.
Right.
Because lust starts in the mind first. That's what entices you to do unclean acts. Those temptations.
Accomplishing it brings forth sin.
Sin. And a sin brings forth the death.
That's why those people in the church got put to death.
Yeah.
They was in there sinning. So if they was in it, so why they died? That ain't why the Lord allowed them to go in there and get killed up. If they wasn't sinning.
Oh, because these
Edomites, so they probably.
But these Edomites, they're getting judged by it because they're taking, if they call themselves Christians, they're taking the covenant in their mouth.
Right.
So the Lord's gonna hold them to it. You want to say that you a follower of me? You want to say that you doing my will?
I'm gonna judge
Well, I'm gonna judge you on that thing.
Yeah. Right.
These devils, they're wicked. They can't help themselves. They're actually going against the grain, trying to declare righteousness.
Right.
You made to be wicked. You was made to be the devil, man.
Back in 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 9, it says, "Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments." Yeah, so
they really are, and that's talking about our people,
right.
man.
The circumcision and the uncircumcision.
Yeah. Those of you that know that you Israel, the Lord's gonna jack you up because the Lord gave you the time to get it right.
And the men out there breaking it down to you plain.
Yeah.
We're out here breaking it down to you plain what you should be doing to seek salvation.
Yep.
For it says, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. Hey, some of y'all got big checks, some of y'all got blessed, escaped death and whatever else. You thought it was in the name of Jesus. You thank Jesus for that. But guess what? You got to still pay for those. He let you out through that because he ain't dealing with that name Jesus, man. He's not dealing with that. You got to know that in the churches. He's not dealing with that. So, and they that have loathed my law, you hated and detested the law, it says, while they yet had liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it.
Yep.
The same must know it after death by pain.
Yep. And that even trickles down to you, those of you who've been in this thing that went back into the world. You have received the benefit of receiving the knowledge of the truth. You were a partaker of the holy promise. And all you did was trotting it down underfoot. All right, you really had the benefit of coming in. The Lord gave you a clean slate. All right, the Lord cleansed you and gave you an opening to come in and serve Him. And what did you do? You casted it off, man.
Yeah. You tasted the heavenly gift and then cast it aside.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You basically crucified Yahweh Shai flesh.
Yeah.
So, hey, you gonna know it after death by pain. You had benefits, but you really didn't know the Lord, man. That was it.
Yeah, that was it. bread. After that, I want to get what you want. I was at 15, and I was
Go to Galatians real quick. Go to Galatians. I want to say around. Because I did want to touch on this part.
right.
Again, it'll show you that if you being unclean, then you're not. That's what it means to not be holy. Galatians. Start at 17. Start at Galatians 5.
It's Galatians 5 and 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit. And the, Galatians 5 and 16. This I say then. Walk.
It's good, bro.
Galatians 5 and 13. For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh.
Oh, you know what? That goes back to what you just read in
That's why
Second Ezra. Yeah. Because while they had liberty, they despised it, man. Yeah, they despised it.
And that'll go back to what you said about the fallout.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another.
What it said, should we make void the law because of liberty? Because we have
Because of grace?
Because of grace, God forbid.
Yep.
For all the laws fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. But if ye bite and devour one another,
Hey, so you're half right about saying God is all love amongst each other anyway. Because
He's not all love.
No.
He's love. God is love, but he's not all love.
Right, that's what I'm
mean?
trying to say.
Yeah.
Because the fact if you love the next man or the Most High like you love yourself, everything else will fall in line. Everything else from there will fall in line. If you love the Most High, or if you love your brother like you love yourself, everything else that these laws will fall in line. Right?
for all the laws fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Hey, sometimes brothers may have disagreements, but you don't consume that, brother. You don't consume wrath or hatred for that, brother. That's not what you do. You check yourself, make sure you ain't the cause of it. If you still have an issue, go to that man. If you don't have an issue, if he don't hear you, then you go to somebody, let them sell it, and then you let it go. That's it. Whatever the judgment of the men that judge on that, or the spirit judgment, let it go. It's just that easy. But the ways of the world, the ways of the flesh is to keep that tension, man. I don't like that dude. They ain't got time for that. That ain't the way of the Most High God. Go ahead, bro.
This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other.
That balance, like we was talking about in the prophecy, right? He made the flesh, he made the spirit. One is the flesh is likely to do after the flesh or do of the world or do wickedness, and the flesh, as the spirit is more prone to do righteousness. Yeah, more.
So that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness.
These are the works of the flesh.
Yep.
And that's what makes you unclean. And these are the things that you're supposed to separate yourself from.
Yep.
Okay? In order to consider to be holy. All the saints all the men that Apostle Paul called to be saints, these are the works that he's telling them, abstain from that if you want to be called a saint. All right, let this not be named among you as being the saints in the church, man. That's why in Great Millstone, there's a certain tolerance level that we have. We basically have an intolerance for wickedness, man. We don't all those things that he's being listed. If you're doing that shit, man, you're gonna get rebuked harshly, or you might just get cast out, man. Well, and those of you that's doing that, hey, go to the Christian church because they'll let you do it.
Like you saying, bro, if you're doing all these things, you're more than likely not of the elect, you know? You're not hearkening to the words and you're not being reproved of those evil deeds that you were doing when you were in the world. Now you're supposed to cast off these things when you come into the truth and become a new man in the spirit, you know? You're not supposed to continuously do the things that you were doing in the world. And that's these things.
You don't have a proper fear for Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
Yeah. Hey, the Christian church, the Christianity, they say there's 2.3 billion of them.
Yeah.
So that's a heavy population on the world. Why is it that the majority of the world is Christian, but these are the acts that go on in the world?
Yep.
If Christianity is supposed to be the righteous way. The Christian way is supposed to be the righteous way, but yet these acts of the flesh, it happens all throughout the world, in the majority of the world. But yet the majority of the world are in Christianity.
God, a personal memory of mine. I know people when I was in the church, it was girls that was in the choir that was having sex in the church, you know. So that show you right there.
Oh, that goes down heavy in the church, man.
Yeah. All of that.
You got women that are married, they got husbands, but then after church, you know, the husband, he'll go home, and the wife will tell the husband, yeah, I got a meeting with the church staff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Deacon board.
Yeah, with the deacon board. So I'm not gonna come straight home. So I'll see you later. You know what I'm saying? I'll be home or whatever.
Breaking off for the church.
And she's basically was getting ready to go down. It's her and the pastor. They finna go into the back. You know what I'm saying? And then and then after about an hour or so, they both gonna come out wiping their face and shit. You know?
What was that Richard Pryor movie?
Yeah, which way is up?
Which way is up?
Yeah.
I can't think of the guy or the character name, but yeah.
Reverend Lennox Thomas.
Lennox Thomas.
Lennox Thomas, yeah. Lennox Thomas.
Yeah, but that's the wickedness that goes on in there, man.
Daddy Rich.
Yeah. You know? It's total wickedness, man. A bunch of damn closet dykes and homos up in there. They sit up in there and they jumping up and down, clapping their hands and shit. But then, old boys, he got a boyfriend that go to the same church with him. Or likewise the woman. Bunch of butch dykes in the church. Or you see women with Timberlands on in the church, man. I've personally seen that in the church, man. When years ago, way before I came into the truth, I went to the Christian, what's the name of that church, man? Pastor Price.
Faith Dome.
The Crenshaw Christian Center.
CCC, right?
All right? And they have what you call hip-hop Sundays, where you can come and dress urban and you can dress, you know, like Jake in the streets do. I saw a lot of women, they was dressing like a bunch of dykes and shit, man. Some women were dressing up like sluts, and then you had other women that was dressing up like dykes, man. You know? Basically telling them it's okay to continue in their youthful lust. The scriptures tell you to flee from your youthful lust, man. You're supposed to put that away. You're supposed to come out of that, man. You know? But in the church, they give you the license to sin. Read that list again. You start from that verse again, and when you read it, we can definitely pinpoint that these are all going on in the church, man. Go ahead.
Galatians 5:19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: Adultery.
Adultery, and we just talked about that. That's all that goes on in the Christian church, man. You know? That's all you see in the Christian church, adultery. Men actually come there to prey on women that are married. All right? Go ahead, bro.
It's an example of that when you watch that movie First Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
What was that, Tracy Morgan?
Yep.
He was like, dang. So yeah, this is the place where we need to be coming because all the women up in here.
Yep.
They say that in Coming to America.
Yeah.
You want your girl, you gotta go to the church. Clean girl.
That's even in Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Little Chris. Little chair. Everybody's been there.
Yeah. Church. Where bitches is at? In the church.
And he was actually right though. You know?
Hey, that part was put in the movie for a purpose, bro.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery.
And anywhere where you have a bunch of women, there's definitely adultery going on. All right, because as much as men dig on these women are digging on the men too. They're looking for foreign rod. That's why they dress up how they dress in that church, man.
On top of that, don't let you have some type of positioning in that church, because then it's all over. You know, the women is after you. If you got a certain social status in that church. If you youth preacher and you a young man, you about to have everybody. You about to have them all.
Yep.
You know, you on the instruments, you on the drums, the piano or guitar or something like that. You can hit anything in there.
Yeah, you get into their minds because women are emotional, and then you play that damn music, which is part of the witchcraft, and you use that to get in, tap into the emotions, and you start to speak a certain way with theatrics. That's how you get their mind, and you can control it. That's why the scriptures tell you they lead captive silly women laden with iniquity. You know, that's what you're gonna find. So wherever there's a big congregation of women with men, you best to believe there's adultery, heavy adultery going on, man. You know, even the apostles, they tell us about the days of One West, how when there was women up in there, you couldn't stop committing adultery up in that church, in that school, man. You know, and that's why when they formed the House of David, no woman was allowed up in there. You know, and that's why you see in Great Millstone, you don't see no women Great Millstone members. You know, brothers got wives, and their wives is at home. They're not all over the common boys talking shit. They ain't got pictures of their faces up, all out trying to get attention from other brothers, man. You know, and even when we was on social media, and brothers that had wives that was on there, you know, that was another reason why the apostles had to send that decree out. Hey, brothers, get off of Facebook, man. Cause you got women on there that's being wanton and shit, man. Got their eyes lurking where they don't need to be. You know. But that's part of what goes on in the church. These are the works of the flesh, showing you that the spirit of the Lord is not in the churches, man. Because if you're doing these things, you're walking in the flesh and not in the spirit. Keep going, bro.
Fornication.
Fornication. All right, what is fornication? It was first and foremost, let's start with spiritual adultery, or idolatry. Okay, but also dealing with, you know, when you take it physical, in the physical context, according to the Levitical law, if you commit bestiality, homosexuality, that's fornication. Homosexuality is big. Even though y'all try to come out and condemn homosexuality, you got faggots in your congregation. All right? You do got faggots in your congregation, man. And then you try to create gray areas for them. Like the Lord's going to actually forgive them. You know? A lot of you do that because you want them to continue to be a member so they can continue to put that money in your plate. Because you don't discriminate. You don't care if a faggot or whoever's in your church, if they giving you the money, hey, you got respect to that person.
So we start letting in them homosexuals, we getting extra money, we getting paid up here. I done got Bentleys and jets.
Yeah.
That's why they'll say something like, they know it's wrong, so they'll say something like, oh, you gotta repent, but won't tell you how to repent.
Yeah, right.
They never break down how to actually repent. So the people stay unclean. Because hey, in the ancient world, there was a service that had to take place with that. Once you get something unclean, you defile. Some of those acts, you have to go in and sacrifice something with the priest, get blessed or whatever, stay out the congregation, depending on the situation. And then you can come back later once you was clean. There's more on that list, right?
Matter of fact, let me look up this word uncleanness.
That's the best word, bro.
God, oh yeah, get that?
Start top.
Yes.
It says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication,
Yep.
uncleanness.
Uncleanness. Now, when you go to the Greek word for uncleanness, it's from G167.